told you guys, I told you guys we was coming back with a live video, and I did a video last night on Gennady Golovkin, calling him out on his BS about reported him potentially moving up to the super middleweight to take on the World Boxing Super Series tournament winner. And it wasn't nothing that I didn't see coming. It wasn't shocking because I know what type of handling, Triple G, has been through. And a lot of people, is going to disagree with me, but it's not like I'm pulling things out of the blue. I'm speaking straight facts, whatever I say about this video. And a lot of people are not going to like it, And it's just a perfect case of how, if you got the media in your corner, how anything can be misconstrued and turned and put on certain pedestals, and how certain fighters get certain passes, and it's double standards in the sport of boxing. And like I said, a lot of people are not gonna like it, but it's not like I'm reaching and pulling lies out of a box. It's all facts and it's all truth what I'm saying. And a lot of people don't have the stomach to hear stuff about I guess they heroes or they boxing heroes, but I just put it out there. And I look to the point from when Golovkin came over to America, and somebody say, well, you haven't followed Golovkin since 2012. You got to go back. Well, I do know. I know he was handing the belt in Germany versus a guy that's probably, not doing nothing as a professional. I think the guy was 16-0 with one draw. Maybe I could be wrong. It's been a while since I looked it up. But I ain't heard nothing from him. It ain't like he beat a top German fighter. It ain't like he beat, Arthur Abraham or something like that for a title. So that's the title that he was handed, And when you're a world champion, I mean, you got to beat all comers. And he had some promotional issues before he got with K2. And that kind of halted his career. And that's what a lot of people say. Well, a lot of people have been speaking on Golovkin for a long time before he came here. You see Max Kellerman, bring him up when they was doing, Sergio Martinez fights, Kelly Pavic fights, he would come up. You'll see different fights where you'll hear about Golovkin. And, everybody was curious, but people who were entrenched in the amateur program and guys that I knew that was doing the amateur program spoke highly of him. You see the fights with him and Lucien Bute. You seen the fights with him in the silver medal round, I believe, with Andre Durrell. And, you seen the fight with Kassim Uma, some of the fights before he came on US TV. But he was handled very well. He was match made very, very well. And a lot of people don't understand what I'm saying, And he came over to the middleweight division at a point where, it had been weak for a while since Hopkins and the Taylor saga went on. I mean, Kelly Pavic reigned over the division. I mean, a lot of people, that was hardcore fans wanted to see him fight Arthur Abraham, but it didn't happen. Abraham moved up and Pavic ended up losing to Sergio Martinez. And Martinez will fight, any sardine can he could find. And any top fighter that was willing to move up and face Sergio Martinez, he fought him. And a lot of people was like, where's Golovkin at this point? He made the perfect entrance into the middleweight division. It was at a time where Martinez had just got injured by Chavez Jr. in the fight because Chavez Jr. came in very heavy. And Martinez, he lost his prime in one night, even in victory. He came back versus Martin Murray in Argentina while I was reigning, and people felt that he got a gift decision. And he got a gift decision. I will say that Martinez is one of my guys. And instantly, when instantly Golovkin pops up not too long after that, calling out a one-legged Sergio Martinez. God, thank God that he did end up fighting Cotto and getting the payday that he truly deserved, And he got out the way, And at the end of the day, you look at who Golovkin fought on his way over here, And the thing that Abel Sanchez said was, we'll fight anybody from 54 to 175 pounds. Then he changed it up and said 168, and that's fine. When you issue that challenge out, not only did you issue the challenge out to people at middleweight, but you issued the challenge out to junior middleweights, light heavyweights, so you changed it, and super middleweights. But his actions didn't speak that. I mean, he fought Proska when he came over here. He fought Curtis Stevens, who was coming off a long layoff because he got beat down by Durrell and Jesse Brinkley at 168 and came to 160. He wasn't ranked. They petitioned for him to be ranked. He got ranked. He got beat. He talked his way into that payday. I mean, he fought Ishida, you know, who did nothing but knock out out of shape James Kirkland. He fought Odamo right before that fight, or 2 fights before he fought Triple G. He fought a guy with like a 20-2 and 26 record or something like that. You dig? You know, not too long ago that, he fought Dominic Wade. For somehow that guy became a mandatory. He wasn't that good. He fought Willie Monroe, who wasn't that good. He fought Matthew Macklin, who wasn't that good. David Lemieux, who had already been knocked out and who was very limited. I mean, you just look at the track record. You know, each one of those guys had a gaping hole in their game. You know, and I might be missing a guy or two. Martin Murray was his best win before he fought Kell Brook, in my opinion. Martin Murray was a solid fighter. I like Martin Murray. He be fighting Billy Joe Saunders. But you look at it. Each one of those guys either had power with no boxing ability, speed with no power, or they was limited in some certain fashion. And people say, well, you know, he only could fight who he wanted to fight. You know, everybody was scared to challenge him, and guys like Quilly didn't want to step up and stuff of that nature. And I agree. But when people, and they say, oh, he's pound for pound because he's fighting everybody in his division. He cleaned out his division, but, you know, people are scared to fight him. But when they use that argument for Errol Spence and say people are scared to fight Errol Spence, oh, no, he got to prove more than that and do that. I mean, there's really not much parity between Errol Spence's resume and Triple G resume, especially once you equate the age factor in there. You know, Triple G is almost 40 years old. Errol Spence is, what, 28, 27, 29? I mean, he just hitting his physical prime as far as prize fighting. But you just look at it. Each one of those guys, people was going crazy for. You could throw Daniel Gill in there. Solid guy. You know what I'm saying? Okay guy. But when he fought Kell Brook, like it or not, it was a step up in class for him. His step up fight was actually versus welterweight. A big welterweight. No, Kell Brook could have been at 54 because he's very big. I heard about it for a long time. He's a big welterweight. And Kell Brook made other middleweights brave enough to step in the ring with Golovkin because he exposed Golovkin to a certain extent. And this is not me just saying it. This is other media fans are saying that. He proved that he can be touched, he can be hurt, and he stunned him. Therefore, you got guys like Danny Jacobs ready to step up. Before that was Creasy Banks Jr., you know, ready to step up before Kell Brook did that. And people got brave. And at the end of the day, people start throwing out steroids. You say, oh, you know, with steroids. It wasn't steroids that why Golovkin had chinks in his armor. It's to be determined. They don't know. It's either Madison Square Garden got the biggest bid, but it's probably going to be in Vegas. Between Madison Square Garden and Vegas for Triple G, Canelo 2. But I'm not talking about that right now, but I answered that question. But it's not Vegas yet, but it's probably going to be Vegas. But it's not about that. It's about how the media can say, oh, this guy has this many knockouts. He has this 20 straight knockout streak and all of this stuff before the Kell Brook fight. And that's cool for a selling point. But it just shows you the power of the media. And if you really look at the guys that he fought up to Kell Brook before the Kell Brook fight, you know, it's nothing flamboyant. You know, there's no future Hall of Famers in there. There's no top 20, 30, probably 50 pound-for-pound fighters in there. You know, there's no real threats. There were just fights to make him turn on the casual publics to get knockouts, to make him look good. And that's factual right there, you know. And I've been saying this for a long time, and I've been going against conventional wisdom and the grain, not only to go between the grain, just to go against the grain. I do that. I stand on my own personal principles and personal standards. And people say, oh, you got something personal against Golovkin. I have nothing personal, and he's more than just a power-punching guy. And you know, that is what it is. You know, that's my opinion on it. And if anybody asks me about his credentials as an amateur, his skill level, I vouch for it. I say, man, he got a good jab. He got good footwork at cutting the ring off. I tell you in different videos that he's one of the best guys at cutting the ring off. I've said that several times. It's not about that. It's about the BS, though. The BS. All this time that he's been telling us that he's about undisputed champion, right? He wants to be undisputed. He wants to get all the belts. But it wasn't about that. And guys, you know, out here with Bass Floyd Mayweather say, well, he picking and choosing his fights for the simple fact of he wants money. You know, oh, money. Floyd is all about money. But what really, you know, slid under the door, you know, for a lot of boxing fans, where they tired or they batted an eye at it, was the simple fact that Golovkin gave up the undisputed shot versus Billy Joe Saunders for money versus Canelo Alvarez. Now, this is not money versus Floyd Mayweather that he's making. You know, people say he can make $15 million. I don't think he made 15. I think he made $10 million. He might have made a little bit more than that. But let's say he made 15. Okay, $15 million. Okay, and we all knew, you know, if Canelo and even Team Triple G know if Canelo finished on his feet, it is more likely gonna get jived on the cards, and that's what happened. You know, better yet than making the right decision by his handlers was like, you know what? We know Oscar said don't go for, I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this, don't go for Undisputed versus Billy Joe Saunders in Kazakhstan in front of your fans. Let's just take the money with Canelo. You know, let's fight Billy Joe Saunders, and then we have all the belts. Canelo don't have nowhere to go. He sold out for the money. You know, he did. He sold out for the money. And nobody's talking about him being money hungry, money thirsty. You don't hear the media saying, oh, this dude gave up a shot at making history for money. You know, nobody says that. He gave up history and legacy and lineage for to get jobs on the cards for some money. Some money that would have been there if he would have played his cards right, which his team is not smart enough to play their cards right. And he did that. You know, he gave up legacy for the money. But now all of a sudden, when Billy Joe Saunders was looking fat, sloppy, and out of shape, back on subject, you know, it was like, yeah, I want Billy Joe Saunders, big drama show, big drama show. I want to be undisputed. I want all the belts. All the belts went until I want all the money. As soon as Billy Joe Saunders sold to the pause, which his trainer, Abel Sanchez, said that David Lemieux was going to give Billy Joe Saunders all type of trouble, and Billy Joe Saunders went in there looking like new money with a new Armani suit on and beat the shit out of David Lemieux. You feel me? It changed to, oh, David Lemieux wasn't that good. He's a bum. He's one-dimensional. But it's the same bum that Abel Sanchez said. That's Abel Sanchez saying that. Same bum that y'all just beat not too long ago. It was no difference. David Lemieux has been David Lemieux from day one to now. And now they trying to downplay that. Now all of a sudden this Tom Loeffler comes out and says, you know, after this fight with Canelo Alvarez, basically they don't want to be undisputed. They don't want to face their mandatory and Jamal Charlo. And they want to move up to super middleweight to fight the World Boxing Super Series tournament winner in the UK, which is some good money, because I'm glad that Chris Eubanks Jr. put on a back burner, especially if he's able to win this tournament, which is not really a short thing. But, you know, if he's able to win a tournament, it works out for Golovkin. But my thing was, for all these years, he told us that he didn't want to move up and fight Andre Ward because he wanted all the belts. Right? It would become undisputed. Oh, Andre Ward too big. Andre Ward too big. You know, all of a sudden, you know, I'll move up for Carl Froch. I'll move up for Chavez Jr. And these same code of fans for Golovkin, you know, would still be behind him. Oh, yeah, Andre Ward too big. He competed at light heavyweight at the Olympics, and we don't need Andre Ward. He's not a pull. Triple G's the A side. He could demand 64.5. Andre Ward can't fill up a stadium. But these are the same fans that's telling us not to worry about ticket sales and pay-per-view sales when it comes to talking about Gennady Golovkin's pay-per-view being damn near under 100K or around 100K. But now it's not about. Now when it comes to Andre Ward, back in that day, it was all about, oh, you know, he can't pull a ticket, he can't sell, or whatever it may be. But like I said, he issued the challenge out when he says he fight anybody from 54 to 68. Originally it was 75. Let's just say 68. He issued that challenge out. But it's a video out there when they had him and Andre Ward, I bet was in the HBO Fighter Meet or something like that, where Andre Ward, you know, he said that I don't want Andre Ward. He's too much for me right now. I mean, he's older than Andre Ward. So at what? He might be a little bit older than Andre Ward, I believe. I think Andre Ward's 33. He's about to turn 36 in April. At what? Let's say 2 or 3 years older than Andre Ward. You're not ready for him? You know, I don't understand that. And people glance over the fact and say, well, we tired of hearing you talk about Ward and talk about Ward this, Ward that. Let's talk about the middleweight division. Now all of a sudden people say, oh, about time it's time for Triple G to move up. You mean it's time for him to move up when the division gets hard? You know, when it's people at the division that's proven, that's willing to fight him, and people say, well, they waited it out. At the end of the day, no matter what happened, you know, he still have all the belts, so he must be somewhat in his physical peak prime still, or somewhat good. It's not people that waited him out. You know, it's not the fact that. It's the fact that the division gets tight. It gets sweet. Now you get sweet. You got Jacobs that wants a rematch. Andrade, whatever you got to say about him. Shevchenko, you know, Charlo. I mean, you know, you got Canelo that he is fighting. I mean, you got Robert Brandt that came up. I mean, you got several different type of guys with different type of styles. And now all of a sudden the division is packed and it's competition there. he wants to flee the division and go to 68 and become a UK star. And I call bullshit on that. Because in Billy Joe Saunders, for all these years, he's been saying that I want all the belts. I want to be undisputed. So all of a sudden that Billy Joe Saunders don't look like easy pickings. It don't look like a bag of money for you. That you want to flee the division and fight the guy potentially in Chris Eubanks Jr. that he beat. Because that's who they really want to win that fight, because he brings a lot of fanfare over there. So, you know, and people justifying this, though. It's just calling him out on his bullshit. All these years, he said Big Drama Show won all the belts. All of a sudden, he don't win all the belts because the path has some resistance now. It's difficult now. And when the path gets difficult, you know, he's no different from the rest of these fighters in his era, or most of these fighters. When the path has a lot of resistance to it, he's fleeing just like the rest of them. The same thing that you guys are begging Mayweather was fighting for money over legacy or just fighting for the money. Golovkin is doing that. He's choosing to elect to get fucked on the cards in the first fight versus Canelo and possibly the second fight versus Canelo for money and to assassinate his boxing character and his boxing lineage that he has built according to his fans and the supporters, instead of going for undisputed, which he's one belt away, which Billy Joe Saunders is calling and baiting him out. And Billy Joe Saunders will drop the Martin Murray fight right now if Gennady Golovkin will fight him for undisputed. But Golovkin don't want to do that because Billy Joe Saunders not easy pickings, and you know he's got to face his mandatory in Jamal Charlo. And people say, well, Jamal Charlo, what has he done to earn a fight? Is Gennady Golovkin a guy that pulls a lot of numbers to say why Jamal Charlo deserves a shot at him? Is Gennady the type of dude? You know? I'm just saying real quick. You know what I'm saying? I just want to know. Is Gennady Golovkin a guy that's pulling big pay-per-view numbers? Is he a guy that's historically making new regular HBO After Dark breaking numbers? Is he hitting the 3 million pay-per-view views that they used to do on HBO After Dark when HBO was known as the #1, no doubt, boxing, you know, attraction in boxing? No. He's barely scraping 1 million views on HBO. So what does it make you think that he's a very, very solid guy? You know, but he ain't no main attraction in the sport of boxing right now. Sorry for the connection. I don't know what's going on. But he's not a big attraction in the sport of boxing right now. And what did Dominic Wade, what did Willie Monroe, what did Matthew Macklin, what did Curtis Stevens, what did Adamo Ishido, Proska do, Rosado do to deserve a shot at Gennady Golovkin? What did Kell Brook do to deserve a shot at Gennady Golovkin? What did he do at middleweight to deserve a shot at Gennady Golovkin? He did nothing. He didn't beat one middleweight to fight Gennady Golovkin. So for people to turn around and say, oh, what did Jamal Charlo do? At the end of the day, Jamal Charlo beat the #1 guy for the belt at WBC rankings. And he did that. You know, it ain't the fact that people, you know, is just want to see, you know, Charlo in there. It's the fact that people want to see Golovkin face a guy that has a complete package of physical skills. And people say, well, Danny Jacobs, Canelo Alvarez. That's cool. But Jamal Charlo brings something different from what Danny Jacobs and Canelo Alvarez does. He doesn't bring a defensive circle mentality. His mentality isn't to move as much as, you know, Jacobs and Canelo did, which could be a detriment to itself. But all this tells me is this. But the packages that he gives us, speed, power, boxing ability, height, size, he gives you the complete package. And the reason why people want to downplay Jamal Charlo for a Triple G fight because they fear what Charlo can do to Triple G. They fear that. And it ain't me speaking out my ass. Like if it's not a threat, if he wasn't a threat, nobody would care he'd be the mandatory. Because for years we heard, oh, Triple G got to face his mandatory, or this guy got to face his mandatory. You know. But when the mandatory is a threat, everybody's speaking out and say, oh, he don't deserve it. That might be fair. You can say that's fair. He doesn't deserve it. But how many Triple G opponents has they wasted our time with that didn't deserve a shot at Triple G? You know, Dominic Wade wasn't a deserving mandatory challenger for the IBF. He didn't live in the same ring with him. But you guys watched it. You didn't really, you know, you said, oh, he's mandatory. But now the mandatory for a belt that he was given, didn't have to fight for, is a threat now. In you guys' eyes, it's an issue. But That's just boxing fans for you. You know, that's how boxing fans are. They very, you know, manipulate. That's fine. That's fine. You know, that's how they want to do it. They can do it that way. I don't have any issue with it. But, you know, when people are so dumbfounded, you know, not to see the manipulation of the media and how, you know, HBO and K2 and whoever else, Tom Lawford, was able to manipulate you guys and have people believing that this guy was the next Mike Tyson, middleweight Mike Tyson, how they played on your mind is crazy. That you can't look deeper into what's going on. This guy was match made perfectly. And there's no two ways around it. I'm not saying it's an indictment on a skill level, but I'm saying that he's ducked people before. He heard Gennady Golovkin calling his name out a lot of times. You heard it. He heard it. And his trainer went so far to say Willie Monroe, who just had won the boxing tournament, was a more popular fighter than Gennady Golovkin. So what do you Triple G supporters have to say about that? Andre Ward called him out when he said, I fight anybody from 54 to 68. Oh, he came back with a catchweight. But the same people say, oh, Floyd Mayweather is the king of catchweights. Or Manny Pacquiao is the king of catchweights. Or Canelo Alvarez, why should Triple G fight you at a catchweight? When you did issue the challenge, I would say I fight anybody from 54 to 68. It's not a problem. I squeeze down for Mayweather, but I won't squeeze down for Canelo. So you just look at the simple things, and you guys believe everything they say and everything they try to spin and misconstrue to you guys, and mislead you guys to be exact. But when the going got tough at middleweight division, and if Triple G chooses to live out the scenario that we're saying about him moving up facing the winner of the World Boxing Super Series tournament, which is an excellent fight, don't get me wrong. I love the fight. You know, I love that fight with him and Ebanks Jr. If that happens, or Callum Smith or George Grove or Yerman Berman, which that won't go in the UK. I don't think he'd fight Yerman Berman because he's from Germany. But if that does play out and he faces Chris Ebanks Jr. hypothetically in the UK, that's an excellent fight. It's a fight that I'm glad that marinated and it happened down the road at a different weight class. You know, I'm happy for that happening. I'm not shitting on that fight. I welcome the fight. But all I'm saying is this guy sold us big drama show. I won all the belts for all the years. And I'm a middleweight, and I'm too small to move up. And he wanted to move up when he wanted to move up. When Gilberto Ramirez was calling him out them years and Ward was calling him out, it was no answer when they knocked on the door. And now he wants to move up. He's not moving up for just to move up, you know, because he wants to, or he can't make the weight, or, you know, or that. He's moving up because Billy Joe Saunders not a joke no more. And Jamal Charlos is mandatory, and they think his style is bad. And Abel Sanchez came on. I did several videos on his interviews with Dante's Box Nation saying that, you know, he didn't do nothing to deserve it. You know, and basically they don't like that fight because they know what's going to happen. So, at the end of the day, I'm not bringing stuff out of thin air. This is all factual things. And he's the perfectly match-made fighter. And the only thing that didn't work out in Triple G's favor is him blowing up in America like an American commodity. He didn't blow up like he was supposed to blow up, like they wanted him to blow up. So now basically they're cashing out with Canelo. Undisputed. I mean, hopefully he still goes for that. If it's Yerman Berman, he probably still fight Billy Joe Saunders. But if it's Ebanks, Callum Smith, or George Grove, especially Ebanks, he's going to move up and probably do that, which financially is smart. You know, and it is what it is. But he may still cross paths with Billy Joe Saunders down the road because Saunders is a big 160. He's talking about going to 168 as well. He's fighting the 168 coming down to 160 in Martin Murray. So it could happen. But, you know, Canelo Triple G2 has been announced. I'm happy. If people worried about the venue, it's been a tweet out there that says that the venue is down to New York City, Madison Square Garden, and Las Vegas, Nevada. And in New York City, Madison Square Garden has the biggest offer bid right now. And that bid is much bigger than Las Vegas. But Oscar and the Golden Boys really trying to push for Las Vegas because they say the high rollers and amenities are better. The clubs stay open all night in Las Vegas. It doesn't close down in New York. I believe the clubs shut down at 2 in the morning unless they change the law. But it's still a city that never sleeps. The fight card will have to go on a little bit early on the East Coast. You know, that's a positive thing for the fight fans. You got to stay up to 1, 2 in the morning watching the fight. It'll go on earlier. But we know Canelo doesn't stray away from that West Coast and that Southern West Coast area. So I find it hard to believe that Canelo would just finally travel to Madison Square Garden. But if he did, it'd be a big sticking point if he's able to beat Triple G in front of his adopted whole fans in New York City. And it showed me that Canelo was very confident and he has balls of bronze, steel bronze, or whatever you want to call it. And I definitely would be, you know, I'd definitely be happy with if it went to Madison Square Garden. I definitely would go. The prices would skyrocket up, when I went for Golovkin Jacobs, they were starting at 120. So I expect the ticket price to go to like 250 or 300. But to see an epic fight like this, I have a lot of respect for Gennady Golovkin's skill set. Like I said before, for somebody that's foot speed is very challenged, physically, he makes up with technique. He's a technical marvel. When you're talking about throwing the jab, changing the jab, he peppered with a good pepper jab with we just pepper him. He did with Billy Joe Saunders. He had a good power jab. I mean, he throws the uppercut, the left hook, the right hand to the body, left hand to the body. I mean, he's the goods. He definitely is. He has good power. He got good punch placement, good accuracy. He's one of the smartest boxers in the world. I will say that. And for somebody that's physically challenged with God-given fast twitch muscles, he makes up with timing and he can control distance and speed. He's fundamentally sound with some on top, and I will say that. It wouldn't surprise me if he was able to get the job done and take the trash out and knock out Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is a gifted specimen as well. The leap and bounds that he made with his footwork, going into the Triple G fight, nobody expected him to dance around like that and move like that. And I think he threw a monkey wrench in Golovkin game plan and threw him off. So I think, I'm not really a fan of Golovkin making adjustment round by round as far as that massive adjustments. But I think that this fight, he's going to make a nice adjustments. Most people think Canelo has the youth and has the tools to build on what he did and get away from get a victory. And I believe this is a 2-for-1. I think whoever wins this fight, most people are going to give him the first fight. So it's a very important fight, and I'll go down and answer some questions. What do you think about Thomas Top Dog Williams? Thomas Top Dog Williams drops to 168 and will be fighting February 17th. I didn't know he dropped to 168. I know he was a little bit chinny. He was a little bit wild. The times I see him, I think I beat by Marcus Brown as well. I picked him to beat Marcus Brown. You usually don't see guys move down the weight, but it might be a good move. He got some physical ability. He just got to, technically clean up some things and not be so wild. And what city they fight in? I just said that it's not a Madison Square Garden in New York City. In my opinion, at least 85% of all boxers are perfectly match made. I mean, no, I disagree. 85% of fighters, Defector 87, that's the homeboy, are not match made perfectly. I think there are guys out there that take the hard road. Danny Garcia had the hard road coming up. Now he's match made perfectly, but it's guys that took the tough road. Tim Bradley had the tough road. Danny had the tough road. I mean, it's a number of fighters that people, put them in. The Gallimore kid that fights at 68. That fights at 160 pounds that just knocked out the Deloach kid. He wasn't match made perfectly. I mean, it's a lot of different guys that wasn't match made perfectly that took risks. It's guys that do take risks. Keith Thurman took a lot of risks in his career as well. I say you're talking about prize fighters that come in with a lot of clout as far as good Olympians and promise. Yeah, I say a lot of those guys are match made. You talking about fighters in the whole. I mean, Vanes Monterosian had a tough road. I mean, it's a lot of different fighters that have tough roads that wasn't expected to be on the level that they are now. So I'm not going to put 85% on that, but that's possible. Even fighting for him a year back in title mandatory. No, he's not. Didn't start getting. No, he's not, and he didn't start getting the numbers he has now. He has to restart. Fuck with Brooklyn Saunders and Kello. Shout out. What up, Matt Valentine? Charlo will stop. I'm not convinced that that Charlo will stop Triple G at this point. I mean, I definitely said I need to see more from him. Hugo Centennial Jr. is not the greatest barometer of fight. I would love to see Charlo versus Jacobs. I think that would speak volumes for him. But I think Charlo could stop Triple G. Triple G got some mileage on him now. And I think, it's not a bad idea to go for another weight class championship. But keep in mind that the guys get longer, bigger, and taller at 68. Ramirez is 6'3". Jesse Hart is about 6'3". David Benavidez is about 6'2". I mean, George Grove is no walk in the park. Obviously, Chrissy Banks Jr. is more of a natural 160. I mean, Darrell is still a fast, twitchy guy. A little bit chinny now in his career. He's going to be fighting Ugazi once again. I mean, James DeGill is obviously broke down. So, I mean, it could be worse. It could be like Triple G be going for Caleb Truex and the James DeGill rematch winner. I'd be pretty pissed about that. Brown and Stevenson, who you got? I still favor Stevenson. Brown needs some more work, but Brown is definitely getting a lot better. Marcus Brown is definitely trying to catch up to at least where Dominic Breazeale is on the 2008 Olympian list, or 2012 Olympian list, excuse me. And Dominic Breazeale has exceeded all expectations, and I think Marcus Brown is coming, you know, to chase down Clarissa Shields and Errol Spence at a certain point. And I think he may be the one to upset the apple cart if Badou Jack can't. I think that's our only hope, unless Gufik can get that Gothic, I don't know the guy's name, the nail gets it done. But you know, just some talk. We got some more videos coming. I'm gonna do some off-topic boxing videos as well. I'm getting to Jay-Z and the Grammys later on. We'll be getting some more boxing talk as well. Shout out to everybody on the boxing grind. Shout out to Colossal Boxing Talk. Y'all go follow them as well. Finally doing more videos over there. I appreciate the brothers over there, and you know, enjoy their content. Do you think Thomas Top Dog Williams? Do you think Thomas Top Dog? Hold on, Thomas Williams to come down? Do you think it's? I mean, yeah. I mean, if he can make the weight, if Thomas can make the weight, yeah, because nobody wants to build their way back up to 175 and build up where they got to the top point of it, and then you know, it's too much politics in that division right now. So 168, I mean, if he feels like he can beat Benavidez, Ramirez, he can bring something different to the table. He can do that. I've been looking back where the hell Sakia Bika been at, man. Anybody know what happened to Sakia Bika? I like Bika. Jack Brown, I don't know. I gotta see how Jack. If Jack beats Stevenson, I don't know. That's uphill battle. I think Brown is eventually gonna wait till Badou Jack get a little bit older. Probably try to take him out. Brown got real power. Who do you think is next for Rigo? Who do you think about for Wilder Ortiz? Cody. Rigo, I don't know. He says he's gonna continue to fight. I would like to see Ricky Diao fight Inouye at a catchweight, possibly after Inouye do what he do. But I don't think nobody has called out Rigondeaux. They talking about him possibly moving up to 26. And we know Frampton, Cruz, and Quigg all gonna move up to 130 then and avoid him like the plague still. Nobody still called him out. And, you know, nobody gives Nonito Donaire enough credit for fighting that man when nobody else would. You know, he wants to I think Canelo really wants to rematch. I really do. I think Canelo wants to rematch from Triple G for the simple fact that, you know, people thought it was close. You know, people clowned him for so long for taking the fight. I believe it might have been some doubt in Canelo's mind about winning versus Triple G. I don't think it was a lot of doubt, but I think he proved to himself that, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to fight this motherfucker right now. And, you know, it is going to be what it's going to be. And I think I think after the fight, it was something like, man, I did better than what I was supposed to do, what people thought I can do. And I think he can win this time. I think he really believes he can get the knockout, to be honest. Triple G will be older. I mean, he didn't have another fight to stay active, so the body emotion that on stage emotion that's older is going to be a little bit more stale. Or is he just doing this rematch because he realizes... Yeah, and also that's a good play, Mr. Dax Factor. That's a good point. That is he only going for Triple G because no matter what door he goes down, it's a serious straight down the door. I mean, Billy Joe Saunders not a clown. I said in the beginning of the video that I did about Canelo Triple G rematch. If Dale Lemieux beat Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo would have took that belt and he wouldn't have had no mandatory. You know, as far as the rest of those guys, nobody really that high in the WBO. But I think Canelo is going to be no place to run anyway. HBO is not going to keep doing pay-per-views. Canelo don't pull numbers. He will pull numbers, but you're right. Whatever door he goes down is Andrade, Jacobs, Charlo. Eventually, maybe Lara, you know, maybe Hurd, maybe the other Charlo. Maybe Plant comes back down. You got Robert Brandt. You got Marat. I mean, you got a lot of different people now in the division. Sergey Zinchenko is kind of thick now. It's real competitive. I think it's more competitive from top to bottom than welterweight. And you know, maybe he's just doing this rematch to buy some time. But if he gets the belts, it'll be funny to see how he maneuvers once he get the belt. Wilder Ortiz, I don't know. I haven't watched any tape on that yet, so I can't give you a definitive answer. I'm kind of leaning towards I don't know. I was leaning towards Ortiz, but I can't give you a definitive answer on that right now, Cody. Spence and Crawford. I gotta see Crawford fight at 147 first. I can't give you a definitive answer on that until I gauge his body at 147. You know, but I do see some holes in Crawford's game that he's definitely improved on. He's definitely a better fighter than he was 2 or 3 fights ago. Yeah, I mean, orchestrated could be. You know, there's been some, you know, fishy acquisitions about HBO and about Golden Boy. Thomas Top Dog will meet a man at 168. I mean, I gotta see how he makes the weight first at 68. 68 is one of the most talented, you know, unknown boxing groups. I mean, Ramirez is good. Caleb Plant may face Dan Benavidez or the Caleb Truex, James Aguirre rematch winner. He's a dark horse in that division. You got Corey Bob, who moved up, who got knocked out by Andy Lee, who's still pretty good. I mean, you got Jesse Hart, who's still pretty good. I mean, you got the Darrell brothers, who's still pretty good. The Ukazi guy, who fought Darrell, and they gonna run it back. I mean, you got a lot of good players there. It's a division that's kind of going under the radar, that's about to pop and blow up. So Thomas Top Dog Jr. just adds sprinkles on top of that division. Definitely Joshua. Joshua's gonna punish Joseph Parker. I've never been impressed with Parker inside the square circle. Every fight I've seen Parker fight, it was just like life and death or underwhelming performance by him. I expect Anthony Joshua to punish and dog walk Joseph Parker. I have seen anything in the ring that indicates Joseph Parker belongs in the ring with Joseph Parker. I mean with Anthony Joshua. But Parker, you know, when I see him hit the pads, I think Parker is pretty freaking good in the gym. It just hasn't translated into the ring. But if it translates into the ring, I mean, Anthony Joshua could be in trouble, but I don't see it happening. Tank, I take Tank. I mean, Robert Jr. is he don't use his height, and Tank punches hard. And I see Fortuna, who is not half the puncher that Gervonta Tank Davis is, you know, laying some good shots on Robert Jr. If Jr. fights with his height, fight with discipline behind his height and his jab, he's dangerous. He got the complete package except for discipline and using his height and reach. But it's the Boxing Clinic. Man, I'm going to come back with some more videos a little bit later. We gone.